In the last video, we have seen that if the user has a slow connection, then it is possible to submit the form multiple times before we get a response from Firebase. In order to prevent this, we are going to add a new state variable, and this is going to be called bool_is_loading equals false, which will be the default value. And then in our submit method, we are going to set this to true just before we submit our request. So here we're going to say is loading equals true. And then what we want to do is to reset this value to false after our request is complete. However, we need to make sure that this happens both when the request is successful and when it fails. And in order to do this, we can expand our try and catch logic by using a new block which is called finally. So here I'm going to type in finally, and then inside I can type in set state, and in here is loading is false. So just to be clear, this ensures that this code is executed both in case of success or failure. Okay, next we want to use this variable to enable or disable our text fields and the submit button. So we can scroll down to reveal our build password and email text fields. And in here we can use a new property of the input decoration object, and this property is called enabled. So we're going to set enabled, and this is going to be true when is loading is false, like this. And we want to do the same thing for our email field as well. So here I can type in enabled, and then I'm going to say is loading is false. Then I can head over to the code that creates our form submit button, and here we want to say that the submit button is enabled when both the email and password are valid, but also we are not in a loading state. So I'm going to add and not is loading over here. And also I want to modify the onPressed callback of the secondary button. So here I can say if not is loading, then ternary operator. So if this is true, toggle form type, otherwise I'm going to have a null value. And just as a reminder, when we provide a null value to the onPressed callback, then the button becomes disabled. Okay, so now that we have made these changes, we can hot reload, and we're going to check what happens when we submit our form. So here I could press the button multiple times, but as you can see, we have only submitted the form just once. And as a result, we only made one call to Firebase. So to show you how this works again, I can press on the sign in button, and all the fields in this form are disabled until we get a response from Firebase. Okay, so now that we have added all the logic to disable our form, we no longer need the temporary code that we added to introduce an artificial delay. So what I'm going to do is to go on the submit button, and I can now delete this delay of 3 seconds. And I can also delete this print line over here. Okay, so let's continue on the next video.